Hi, it's lovely to be here. Thanks for having us. I feel I should start with a caveat. I've just had a double dose of day nurse to cope with man flu, and Sara-Jane got her thumb caught in the car taxi door. So if it gets a bit Laurel and Hardy, we kind of hopefully laugh along with this. The talk obviously is about online card retailing, what that tells us about the UK consumer, but we also wanted to tell you a little bit more about Moonpig, what we're up to. So hi. Who are we? Well, obviously Sara-Jane is our head of licensing and obviously GCA member, and I'm design director, and we've both been at Moonpig for around 5 years. Previously, in those dim dark 55 years of experience, we've been at Tiger Print and Hallmark, and we've had many years in the greetings and gift industry in various creative and commercial roles, including product development, intellectual property and licensing. But ultimately we're here because we love cards. I don't know if there's any misconception out there, but we love cards because we're digital as much as we love cards because they're physical. And this is the reason why we love cards, because we believe it's one of the few product categories out there that are truly enduring. And not only that, they help build these amazing stories between people for the price of the product and the amount of emotional content and the story that people use to build those between the relationships in their lives. It's just an amazing category to be part of. And ultimately, in these times that they're in, they're very uplifting products, or with a few category exceptions, they're mostly uplifting anyway. So a little bit about Moonpig in particular. We're a part of a group that has 5 large brands across Europe, which we'll come on to in the next slide. We're the UK online leader with 120 million moments, which is basically products sold since 2000. 16 million cards in the last year, and we've been growing at double digit for the last 4 years. And I think everyone may know, but we're actually also quite big in gifts and flowers. In fact, we're the number 3 online flower retailer these days. So it's not just all cards, we have all that complexity to get to the customer in their orders at the same time. And also our brand, I think a lot of people know the famous jingle, and that kind of made our name over the years, but actually that's moving on, which we'll talk about a bit more as well. But we do have 83 prompted brand awareness in the word cards, which obviously is quite impressive, I think, for just a few TV ads over the years. And I think, as you all probably know, this industry is massive. It's obviously, you add flowers and cards and gifts together, and it's an enormous multi-billion-pound industry. So there's room for us all, especially when you consider that 90% of cards are actually sold offline. Still the most dominant form of retailing. So a little bit about our business. This is a photograph of our new head office. It's called Herbal House in Clerkenwell. If anyone's passing, you're more than welcome to pop in. It's very open shop. We'd love to host something there in the future. We've got these 5 brands. They all do slightly different things in terms of personalised products. Moonpig and Greets, as you may know, we've just acquired the Dutch online specialist Greets. We make up kind of the cards part of our business. And then there's Photobox, Poster XXL and Hoffman, who make up the photo part of the business. So if you're ordering a photo book and you're in Germany or Spain, you'll be using Poster XXL or Hoffman. If it's in France or Sweden or Norway or the UK, it'll be Photobox. And if you're buying greeting cards in the Netherlands, it'll be Greets, and obviously greeting cards or gifts in the UK, it'll be Moonpig. And that all adds up to a lot of volume that we're dispatching on an annual and daily basis. So there's more than 20 million products sold. There's 1,000 employees. In our peak, we had 290 million orders produced on our biggest day. 1,000 orders on our biggest day. And that led to more than 11 million photos being uploaded. And you can imagine a big part of our business is technology, and being able to take all that photo uploading and look after all the customer data is a huge part of our business. As I said before, we're in a lot of markets, 15 different markets and languages, and overall we have 12 million active customers. And you boil that back down to Moonpig, we're around about a third of the total revenue of the group, and we're still very much in our own individual brand and culture. We've not had to change. We are Moonpig even within this group structure. A few more pictures of our office, just showing off when it's empty. Obviously it's usually busy than that, and people are running around. It's in the old Daily Mirror offices. They were originally Printworks, so there's a nice connection back to the sort of roots of what we do. And you see bottom left, we have a big open all-hands meetings across all those different businesses on a monthly basis through the basis of Google Hangouts. We were opening a tech hub in Paris last year, in the Marais, and we have a new tech hub in Manchester, so we're recruiting a lot of people from technology as well as the print and greetings industry. The factory. But yeah, we're getting carried away, and I think we need to get back to Moonpig. So I think as some of you probably know, we've got a new MD, Nicola Ray Arthur. He's been here about 90 days. The first 80 days we completely refocused our business and came up with a whole new strategy to drive us forward, which has been really great and really good fun. And this is one of our off-site days in the photograph. We have a very unique culture. Someone was saying to me before, you've got a lot of millennials at Moonpig, which we do, but we also have a lot of people with grey hair. Hopefully I'm sort of a testament to that as well. And obviously, I think we've got a good reputation as a brand. Last year we completely changed our graphic identity. We got rid of the pig, and we emphasised more the moon. So the lettering being on a curve is all about zero gravity and the idea of sort of being floating in space. And obviously that is all taken across our websites, the apps, the product ordering systems, and also the packaging. But going forward, there's a whole new side of Moonpig that you're going to see. I think previously, when I was part of a big brand like Hallmark, you were very aware of your role in society in terms of the length that greeting cards was in terms of helping people in share their moments. And our new brand strapline is going to be connected to the idea of the caring instinct and cultivating the caring habit. And you'll just see more of that coming through in our TV and social media advertising in the coming weeks and months, which I'd have to kill myself if I told you the full story behind that in a minute. But ultimately, the whole business now gets the idea that what we love about cards, the business loves about cards. It's about creating enduring, story building and uplifting moments for our consumers.
So on to some of the online card consumer insights. I joined the Moonpig business as head of licensing about 5 years ago. At that time, in terms of range development and what informed all our kind of range planning, was all we had was sales. So we had no kind of analytics, no consumer profiles. You couldn't even search on our site. Nowadays, I'm pleased to say, we practically spend most of our time in a rabbit hole of information. Just like most online companies, these are the kind of data points that we glean insights from. So we have our traffic data, which kind of through Hitwise, which tells us where people are coming from and going to on our site and kind of what they're doing on there. We have our data analytics, so we have data scientists now that work for the business. So they inform us of kind of how people are finding the product on the site, what they're searching for, which kind of informs a lot of the things that if someone's searching for something in female birthday and then they're personalising it into mum, so we know kind of that informs a lot of our range planning from that perspective. It also talks about our customer purchase patterns and whether they're cross-selling, whether they're upselling, and exactly what they're doing on the site. We work with 2 trend forecasting sites, so we work with Trend Bible and Stylus that give us a bespoke and a macro level of trend, and also Google Analytics, which is more or less of what I'm going to speak to you about today, because that kind of informs most of our range planning. We also have an amazing in-house customer service team as well, and trust reviews as well that kind of inform all that. So Google Insights. So these are the kind of insights that we glean from Google, and this is the general GA data out in the ether, and then we also have our own GA analytics as well that tells us what people are searching for on the site. So when you look at this, so the graph at the top is just telling us that basically 59% of all searches, card searches, now are on mobile. We see this as a purchasing pattern as well. Over the past 2 years, we've seen that flip. And whilst card searches are -8 on the year, personalised card searches are increasing at quite a rapid rate. Online card consideration is definitely higher in the under 45 age group, And that's pretty kind of a drop-off point for our customer, really. There is a slightly older, tech-savvy, kind of up to 60 or so, but our customer definitely skews down to the 18 to 24 audience. So we definitely think that the online card companies are nurturing that habit in the younger consumer. Personalised card searches have grown quite considerably over the past 2 years, and we're seeing this in some of the data that we see from the top themes as well. So these are a snapshot of what's kind of trended over the past year for us. I mean, more recently, charity Christmas cards, which we see peaking obviously in Christmas, but things like this informs a lot of our licenses like Fortnite and Love Island and Stranger Things. So we see these things peaking on and off. We know that every event we get searched for quite niche captions, things like Last Valentine's as a miss, we get searched for a lot of first occasions, and also things like thinking of you at Mother's Day and thinking of you at Christmas. And then the more kind of obscure animal of the moment like sloths and llamas. So we translate a lot of these into our product development. So I thought it would be quite interesting to show how this translates then into trend. As I mentioned, we work with 2 trend forecasters, and 2 of the overriding trends that stylists have informed of that I think will impact our industry are wellness and also inclusivity and diversity. So looking at the wellness, on the right-hand side of the screen, you'll see some of the statistics showing the growth of these card searches year on year. So things like thinking of you, as I mentioned, we're seeing that crop up in every event now. And it's just kind of like getting back, this is an overriding trend of mental and physical well-being. Pets that are seen to be a mental health kind of benefit. We're seeing things like Valentine's Day to and from the pets, and birthdays to and from the pets. And it's this whole kind of humanization of animals. And then just general mindfulness and just positive messaging and people just being a lot nicer to each other. We're getting used to kind of adapting our cards for societal shifts and things we know from like Mother's Day and Valentine's Day. These are events that are getting broader and broader. Mother's Day is becoming something that's celebrating not just actual parents, but people with parental kind of non-parental responsibilities, but kind of very close relationships. So things like you don't have to give birth to be a mum and like a mum, and stepmums kind of increasing for us. And then celebrating and documenting some of the more traumatic kind of events in your life, like divorce and getting over a critical illness. So things like the divorce card there, which is starting to do a lot better for us. And then, obviously more divorces. And then this year for Valentine's Day, we did a collaboration with the NHS organ donor campaign, where we did limited edition designs that we gave away we basically gave them away for people to sign up to the organ donor. We had 262 sign-ups and 12,000 visits to the site. And it just created a lot of kind of activity on social as well, and kind of good messaging. On diversity and inclusivity, the stats again at the side showing increased searches for same-sex, Pride and coming out. This year was the first year that Moonpig went to Pride. We did a Proud of You campaign. And we actually had a float in conjunction with Above the Stag Theatre Group. This was incredibly successful for us, and it just shows that we just want to be supporting everybody really, and just making sure that anybody that comes to the site can find something that's relevant for them. Relevance and inclusivity is at the forefront of our mind, and one of our kind of biggest selling areas are photo upload, and this is a kind of opportunity to do our storytelling through the product. So we have to ensure that there's representation across age, gender, race and relationship and cultural occasion. So this is an area that we can really showcase that, and our design team spend a huge amount of time looking at, researching photographs and kind of reposting them so that they have that relevance for everybody. And then this year we also were supported International Women's Day, which was a really good female empowerment message by a range of cards, and we did quite a bit of social activity, which kind of earned praise from people like Jo Brand, so it was really positive. So I'll hand over to Geoff to talk about how you stay relevant.
Yeah, so the new buzzword around our office is personal giving. We think it's a really good way of linking in that caring instinct and getting it into the whole business's mind about what it is actually we're trying to do. Obviously personalisation, personalised cards, so the whole thing kind of goes together. What does that mean? So it's not a card that could be easily given to anybody, and it's not typically an obligation. The idea is it's a non-transferable design, if you like, and it builds upon the story of a relationship, so it can't be given to anyone else. And typically we're talking about close relationships, which we call kin plus 5. So it's that nuclear family plus your 5 most favourite people, or it could be your exactly nuclear family. And it's an effort that can be high or low mission, because some people just want to go on the site, get a card and get out, and some people want to spend ages personalising and adding photos and going on for hours on end. So what does that look like? So the far left basically says it's not going to be what we call generic, which is a birthday card which doesn't have any words, it doesn't have any images, and this really is very open send in the traditional terms. What it is designs that build on relevance, customization and personalization. So for relevance, it may be that you're a massive Star Wars fan and your brother loves Star Wars, so we know that through Sara-Jane's research with Google that that's a really big term that we need to be after, and there's lots of optimization and information pointing us in that direction. We look for that for giving us relevance. So in the last few months we've all seen Fortnite coming through in our searches, so we've gone after those licenses, but it could easily be saying 65th birthday is a gap that we have in our range, which we do have. And surprisingly, the fact that you can change the name and age on a card, people don't always realise they can do it. So relevant is about showing the customer a display of cards that have all the things they may be looking for. Customised obviously means you're adding a name, age or some text, which obviously makes it unique to that person. And truly personalised is when a photograph, name, age and text all comes together. So in terms of our differentiation to the high street, I think that's hopefully trying to make that clearer, in that people can't make these cards and can't get them from the high street. So I think that's where we're starting to be very clearly going in our own direction. And I think, I know we've had conversations with Jackie in the past where you're saying, are we going to do real cards as what we call real cards that you guys do? The answer is we're not. We're actually going to go more about interpersonalisation and more about building that relevance in that direction.
So how does that look in practice? And this is what we refer to internally as our content wheel. And this is basically kind of like the way we source content through the different facets. So we have an in-house design team and an in-house artwork team, very small but perfectly formed, as they say. We have our graduate programme, so we go to a new designers show, we work directly with the college on college projects. We have a pool of freelancers, so we work with quite a few of the industry freelancers. We have a lot of our direct relationships with licensors, and this kind of enables us to do quite interesting marketing activations. We work with a huge amount of large publishers, and we have done right from the beginning of Moonpig, many of who were shareholders originally in Moonpig, and our indie publishers. So this year, for instance, I was part of the GCA Dragons event, and we actually kind of found a smaller publisher from there that we've just launched some product on, which is a great story. We work with a number of image archives, so things like Getty and Natural History Museum and Mary Evans. And then we have our collaborations, things like the Natural History Museum, and we work with like the NHS donor campaign, and a few TV programmes. You may see us on soon. So yes, that's our...
Thank you. So I just wanted to make a little point really, because as an art director and design manager over the years, and now creative director, one thing that really annoys me is sort of basically I call it art plagiarism. And with the internet having the right click save culture and everybody doing Pinterest boards and all this kind of stuff, it seemed to be going away a little bit, in the sense it was sort of sorting itself out. But we're finding increasingly with the online side of the industry, we wake up most mornings and we find something being copied somewhere, and I'm sure it's as grieving as it is in a retail as it is in an online sense. And the reason sort of call it out is because we spend a lot of time and investment in, as Sara-Jane said, going to the colleges, recruiting graduates, building up all their experience, and usually sometimes 6 months into that they start to develop their own ranges and they're working on their own briefs. And on the right-hand side, left-hand side is the design, the Moonpig design, and the right-hand side is literally a few weeks later the competitor's version. So I know that no one can trademark unicorns, no one can trademark colour palettes, no one can trademark online personalised cards and all these sort of things, but I think it's just something, if the industry is going to develop, it's better for people to develop their own individual design, look and feel, and basically we, as an industry, I think we do generally respect each other's IPs, but I think in online there's a bit of learning to be done, and that's my little call out. I'm not blaming anyone in this room, don't get me wrong. And that's basically, we're undeterred because we want to invest in design, we want to bring newness through. We're very happy to put cards online and kind of give them a go, because the other exciting side of being online is that you get a reaction very quickly. Within a few days, you sort of know if something's going to sell well. So in summary, I would like, Sara-Jane and myself, would like you all to feel that we're your friends. We'd love to work with you if you're a publisher. We think we're engaging that younger consumer, and we think that our marketing spend is good for the whole category. People looking online for cards and the way that people are searching is obviously going to create more morphs and more new competitors in the market, more disruptors, more entrants, which is all great, I think, for the whole category of cards. And obviously the way that data is developing, the way investing in design now becomes a little bit, in some ways, easier to do. So we want to support the industry, its creatives, its brands, the publishers, and this great association. And we're always looking for ways to do this and engage with like-minded partners. So, we love you.